Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Brockopp side. So, it's Wednesday, but unfortunately, no Blu-ray review this week because, well, Black Friday is next week, so I'm actively saving my monies for that because I'm gonna spend a lot of money on a lot more movies, but I still wanted to get something out this Wednesday, that's kind of Blu-ray related, So I decided to do something, little special, and that is I'm gonna go through my complete 4K Blu-ray collection. Not all the Blu-rays, just all the ones in 4K with the richer colors and the deeper blacks and all the extra pixels you could ask for. And if you guys enjoy this video, please consider hitting that subscribe button if you live talking by movies. We are so close to reaching 200 subs, and at that point, once I do reach 200, I'll go through my complete Blu-ray collection. So this is just kind of gonna be like a little taste of that. So I've got about a little under 100 4K movies, and come next week it's gonna very much exceed 100, but yeah, so we're just gonna go through them in alphabetical order, and yeah, let's get into it. So, first up on the list, we've got The Accountant from 2016, and this is actually pretty appropriate that it's the very first one I'm showing you, and it's the first one in alphabetical order, because this was actually the very first 4K Blu-ray I ever bought back in, like, early 2017. Didn't have a 4K TV yet, but my mindset was, okay, I'm probably gonna upgrade eventually, so I might as well start buying up 4Ks whenever I can, and yeah, so it looks good in 4K, and I also just really like this movie. I think it didn't do very well at the box office, but I think it's gotten kind of a following since the home video release. But yeah, it's a really good movie. I'd definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it before. So, next one up is Little Battle Angel in 4K, and I actually missed this one in the theater back in February, but then I bought the Blu-ray when it came out in July because a lot of people recommended it to me, and yeah, I actually really enjoy this movie as well. And if you want to see my more in-depth thoughts on this Blu-ray and the movie itself, then go check out my review. So after that, we've got Annihilation. This is one I also saw in the theater, but didn't do a review of when it first came out, just due to time constraints. And yeah, this is a very beautiful movie. It's got some really great acting. It's a little slow in some areas, but that doesn't really bother me all that much. And it's got probably one of the most terrifying scenes I've ever seen in a movie with this creepy demon bear looking thing. This is a really good movie. I definitely recommend you check it out. And then we've got Ant-Man and the Wasp in 4K. I don't have the first Ant-Man in 4K yet. I'm slowly starting to upgrade my MCU collection to 4K. But yeah, good movie. Not as good as the first one maybe, but I like him more than a lot of people did. So then we've got Aquaman with the really cool Target exclusive 4K digibook pack. So it's got the movie and an excerpt from the art and making of book. Cool stuff. And yeah, Target has done these digibook type things for all the all the DC movies, but this is the only one I have for the DCEU, just because I don't know, this one just kind of looked extra cool to me. So then we've got Avengers 1 and 2 in 4K. I don't have like the fancy steelbooks or anything for these ones, but I actually don't mind the really basic cover art for these ones. I think for what it is, it works. And then we've got Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame and the 4K steelbooks. These are really cool. I kind of like this one a little more just because it's more simpler, it's got some nice color scheme, it's got nothing but Thanos on it. This one's cool too, but yeah, so yeah, I've got all the Avengers movies in 4K, 2 of them in steelbook, 2 in regular 4K, but don't need the steelbook for everything. So then we've got Batman 1989 in 4K, and I actually did do a review of this when it first came out, and yeah, this movie looks really good in 4K, and I remember watching it a million times as a kid on VHS, so just kind of getting to see the slow progression and quality of the different home video releases is really cool. I don't have Returns Forever or and Robin on 4K yet, but I do intend to fix that when Black Friday rolls around next week. So, continuing on with Batman, we've got the Dark Knight trilogy in 4K. Now, these movies look absolutely amazing in 4K, especially Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises when they started using IMAX cameras. And yeah, rewatching these movies in 4K was like watching them for the first time all over again. Really great. So if you're looking to upgrade your movie collection to 4K, I would recommend starting with these movies. And then the last Batman movie I've got in 4K is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. And yeah, people have talked endlessly about this, I've always been one to defend the movie, and I think it's good, maybe not as great as it should have been. It's definitely got some issues, but I am a firm believer that the ultimate cut is a lot better. It makes the story flow so much better. But if you don't love the movie to begin with, the ultimate cut won't change your mind. But whenever I watch this movie, I always go for the extended cut. So then we've got Black Panther in 4K. I really wanted to get the Best Buy Steelbook for this one, but you know how it goes. If you don't pre-order or get there first thing in the morning, you run a smaller chance of getting them, but still, it's cool to have this on 4K. So then we've got Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049, both in 4K, both look really, really nice. Just some very visually appealing, just really well-made movies, especially 2049 as far as visual appeal goes. And then we've got Bumblebee in 4K. Now, I think this is probably the strongest Transformers movie since the very first one from 2007. It's a smaller scale, more focused, and I just think it's a good time. And this one's got a exclusive comic book in it, like right there, and I did do an unboxing of this back whenever this came out. So yeah, if you want to check that out, be my guest. Now if I can just get the dang slipcover back on. There we go. Alright, so moving onward, we've got the Captain America trilogy, and I've got the really cool 4K steelbooks for these ones, and I also did reviews of these when they came out, and I think these movies look pretty good in 4K. I think the downside to watching these in 4K, or at least just the first one, is it kind of highlights some of the imperfections in the VFX from, when the movie was made, so some things kind of stand out a little bit more, but still, I'm really glad to have this in 4K, all three of them in 4K, and just look at these steelbooks. These steelbooks are very awesome. And then continuing on with the steelbooks, we got Captain Marvel in 4K. Pretty cool steelbook. I got the back there like that. And, this isn't my absolute favorite MCU movie, but, it's still good, it's okay. So then we've got Coco. This is actually one I also missed in the theater back when it came out in late 2017. I picked up the 4K just because it was highly recommended. And, really good movie. I like it a lot. Not my favorite Pixar movie, but still, I like it. So then we got Creed 2, don't have Creed 1 in 4K, but might upgrade someday, but this is a really good sequel, and I really like these Creed movies, and so this kind of brings like every phase of the Rocky movies together in a very well executed fashion, the more character-driven movies, plus the macho movies, I just really like this movie. It's really good. I'd definitely check it out. So then we've got Deadpool 2 with the super duper cut, and this is the Target exclusive, which comes with the children's book, if I can get it out, so that's pretty cool. And I did a review of this as well, so one more info, check that shit out. So then we've got the Death of Superman and Reign of the Superman with the cool 4K steelbooks. These are some really good DC animated movies. Most of them are, but I really like these ones. The ending of Reign of Superman gets a little corny, but still I think these are very well-made animated Superman movies. So then we got Dunkirk, which I actually haven't opened yet, but I have seen the movie. I really like the movie, especially since I got to see it in 70mm in the theater, but some people didn't love it, but I personally quite enjoyed it. Then we've got First Blood in 4K. It's the only Rambo movie I do have on 4K, and I think the only one I have on Blu-ray as well, so hopefully I can get the rest of them on 4K or Blu-ray or whatever, but as far as older films transferred to 4K, this one looks fantastic, so definitely if you're looking for some recommendations, this one's definitely up there as well. So then we got Ghostbusters 1 and 2 with this really nice steelbook, and who doesn't love Ghostbusters? So now we've got Godzilla King of the Monsters in 4K. This movie is a visual masterpiece, and seeing in 4K is just even better. I have no idea why they haven't released the original Godzilla from 2014 in 4K yet. Hopefully they'll do that next year when Godzilla vs. Kong is coming out, but really cool, really cool. Then we got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, the very first MCU movie to release the 4K, so of course I had to get the 4K. I really love the design of the slipcover with the, the fun glossy textureness to it, and yeah, it's really exciting to get an MCU movie in 4K for the first time, and yeah, now they're all in 4K, so that's pretty cool. So then we got the original Halloween in 4K, which I also have not opened yet. Probably should have watched this at Halloween, but I did not. So I don't know how good this actually looks, but it's probably pretty good looking. And then of course got Halloween 2018 in 4K, and this one looks good in 4K as well. Yeah, some people didn't love this movie. They kind of wanted more from a Halloween sequel, this variety, but I really enjoyed this Halloween movie. I think it gave me more or less everything I wanted from a Halloween sequel like this. And yeah, we got 2 more coming, so that's really exciting. I'm definitely looking forward to those. So now we've got Hellboy 2004 with the really cool 4K steelbook. Looks really good in 4K, and yeah, just a really good movie all around. Then we got Hook in 4K. When it comes to Hook, you either love it or you don't. Personally, I love Hook. It's a really fun movie with Robin Williams, and I really like the whole kind of psychology of Peter Pan side to it. And yeah, just as far as Steven Spielberg movies go, it's pretty good. Not my absolute favorite Spielberg movie, but still, I enjoy this movie. So now we got Hulk 2003. Now, if you saw my review of this back in July, you know that I have some real sentimental value towards this movie. I realize nowadays it's not exactly a fantastic movie, but when it came to 4K, I was like, you know what? Just for sentimental purposes, I'll pick it up, and yeah, it actually looks pretty cool. And we got the Incredible Hulk in 4K. This is kind of like what I said about the first Captain America, where, it looks good in 4K for the most part, but there are some moments where it kind of highlights some of the visual effects imperfections here and there, but overall, good 4K release. So then we got Incredibles and Incredibles 2 in 4K. Of course, I absolutely love The Incredibles. It's one of my favorite Pixar movies ever, and just a real nostalgic movie, so of course, had to get the 4K. And then Incredibles 2, I really liked Incredibles 2, although it kind of does feel like a middle chapter of a trilogy, not exactly a sequel you get 14 years after the first one, but yeah, so hopefully they'll do like an Incredibles 3 to kind of push the story forward and, maybe wrap it up. But yeah, because I think an Incredibles trilogy would be fantastic. So then we've got It, the 2017 movie in 4K. Really terrifying movie, or not really terrifying, it's more like creepy and unsettling, but either way, it looks really good in 4K. We'll definitely pick up Chapter 2 in 4K when it comes out next month. So then we've got the John Wick trilogy. Freaking love these movies. I'm gonna keep watching them as long as they keep making them. And yeah, just really cool action, some cool world building in them, and yeah, good 4K releases. So next up we've got Jumanji in 4K with this super amazing steelbook that looks like the game from the movie. I was super excited to get this when it came out 2 years ago, because not only did I not have the movie in Blu-ray, but, just seeing this amazing steelbook just like the game from the movie, that was just really, really cool. And I think on the inside, yeah, so it looks like the game on the inside too, so this is a really great Blu-ray steelbook 4K release, and this just owning this makes me feel better about myself, and just look at it, that's so cool. And then we've got the 4K steelbook for Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle, which was one of those really surprisingly pretty good movies, and yeah, I look forward to the third one, and yeah, I mean, this steelbook, of course, is not quite as impressive as this one, but still, it's like, I have this one in the 4K steelbook, so I might as well get this one in the 4K steelbook. And then we've got the Jurassic Park 4K collection. This comes with the first 4 movies. I don't have Fallen Kingdom in 4K, I just had that one on normal Blu-ray because who gives a shit, it was not a very good movie. But yeah, these always look really good in 4K. The first one in Jurassic World definitely looked the best. And yeah, just really satisfying to have these in 4K. So after that, we've got Justice League in 4K. Now, I've talked about this before, and you know, it's an okay movie. Some of the things that are at the very end of the film, like after the final battle is over, I really love that kind of stuff, you know, like seeing the Flash and Superman race and stuff, but you know, it's like, it's just a product of studio meddling, and that's as much as I'm gonna say on the subject of the Justice League movie. So then we've got King Kong, the Peter Jackson film in 4K. I'm a big fan of this movie. I like it more and more as I get older, you know, and it's just a really good, well-made, fantastic-looking movie, and also it's packed to the brim with bonus content, so very extensive making of documentaries for like every major stage of production, you know, production, post-production. You know, it's got like 13 hours worth of content, which is no joke. So if you wanted to see a boatload of bonus content for a movie, this is definitely a good contender for that. And then got Kong Skull Island in 4K. Now, of course, this isn't as well made as some of the other King Kong movies, but I still enjoyed it. You know, I'm really digging the MonsterVerse movies, even if the box office isn't necessarily. But yeah, I really like this movie, very visually appealing. I really like the design of King Kong in the movie. And like I've said since this movie first came out, I cannot wait for Godzilla vs. Kong to come out next year. Don't disappoint me. Then we got the Lego movie in 4K, the only one of the Lego movies I have in 4K, and I love this movie, looks nice in 4K. Then we got the original Lion King in 4K. This looks fantastic with the just really rich colors and just really nice 2D animation transferred to 4K. I don't have the live action remake, but I'm not really in any real rush to get that. But, you know, maybe if I find it for a good price Black Friday, I might consider picking it up just for kind of historical purposes, I guess. Then we got Man of Steel in 4K. Now, I've also been kind of on the more positive side of this movie, and honestly, I kind of like it a little more every time I watch it. And yeah, it was one of the only DC movies I didn't have in 4K yet, so when I got this last Black Friday, when I got this last Black Friday, I was like, cool, now I can upgrade this, because I do like Man of Steel. And now we got Mission Impossible Fallout. I've got the other ones in this basic Blu-ray because it came with like the little box set. But yeah, this is a really good action movie, some fantastic cinematography, some amazing stunts. You know, I could gush about this movie all day, but yeah, just really good movie. And then Pacific Rim, got that in 4K. I don't have Pacific Rim Uprising yet. I'm hoping to get that soon enough. But yeah, I mean, just giant robots fighting giant kaiju. Coolness. So then we got Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, the fifth one, the only one in 4K so far, and yeah, it looks good in 4K, and you know, I think I also like this movie a little more than most people did. You know, it's not as good as the first two, but it's better than the fourth one, and it's kind of somewhere next to the third movie, I guess, but yeah, I mean, it could have been better, but I think it's also just, it's not bad, that's what I'm saying. Now we got Detective Pikachu in 4K. You know, it's like, I didn't need to buy this day one of release, but, you know, it's a fun movie, and, I mean, also the CGI looks really good, so it transfers nicely to 4K, and, yeah, so, I own it. So, then we got The Predator in 4K. Now, when this movie first came out, I did a review of it. I think I might have been a little too positive about it, because looking back on it, I probably should have been a little harsher on it, but I wasn't for some reason. So I really should not have bought this movie in 4K, but I think I had like a gift card from a Secret Santa thing or something, so I just kind of bought this. But I mean, I have it, you know, I'll probably rewatch it at some point, and I've got the other Predator movies, so I guess, you know, just kind of completionism-wise, might as well own it, I guess. Yeah. Then we got A Quiet Place in 4K, really good movie, great theater experience, and yeah, seeing it in 4K, just seeing all the really good cinematography and those sound-based monsters, it's a good time. So then we got Rampage, just a big, dumb, stupid monster fighting movie with Dwayne Johnson, and yeah, I mean, it's a big spectacle movie, so might as well own it on a big spectacle format. Then we got Ready Player One. Now, again, I feel like I've said this a million times already, but I like this movie more than a lot of people did, you know, just, it had a very nice classic Spielberg feel in my opinion, and yeah, it looks really nice in 4K, and I also just really love this cover art too, so yeah, good movie, you should check it out if you haven't yet. So then after that we've got The Shining in 4K. You boy, you have The Shining! The Simpsons joke for you, what's up? But yeah, I just bought this recently, you know, for Halloween purposes, and this looks fantastic in 4K, so another one if you're looking to upgrade to a higher format, I would definitely consider getting this one as well. And then we've got Shazam in 4K. I really enjoyed this movie. It's definitely probably one of my favorite movies of the year, you know, it's got a nice smaller scale, character-driven movie. It's got some great family values in there. It's just kind of reminiscent of some movies, superhero movies from the 2000s that were, you know, a little bit smaller, more contained. You know, it's part of the DC universe, but it's very much its own thing, which I appreciate. And yeah, I just freaking love this movie. Next up, we've got the Spider-Man trilogy in 4K. Now, of course, I'm a huge Sam Raimi Spider-Man fan, so I had to get this at some point, and yeah, it's really cool. It's got some new bonus content on it, and this really cool digibook packaging, and yeah, I actually don't notice a humongous difference from Blu-ray to 4K with these, but, you know, it's like, if you have the means, why not? But, of course, absolutely love these movies. Spider-Man 3... I think it gets more crap than it deserves, honestly, but, you know, 1 and 2 are the best ones. Then got Spider-Man Homecoming in 4K. You know, I really enjoyed this movie, I like it quite a bit, and I actually got to write an essay analyzing this movie for one of my film classes, like a year back, I think, which was really cool. Got to talk about a Spider-Man movie for college credit. But still, good movie. And of course, got Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse in 4K. I think it takes, you know, some of the things that need to be improved in Homecoming and improves upon them, takes the good things from Homecoming, elevates them, and yeah, just a strong Spider-Man movie all around. I still prefer Spider-Man 1 and 2 from the Raimi movies, but I still think the current MCU Spidey movies are incredibly strong, very well-made movies, so I'm very happy about that. But then we've got Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse in 4K, and oh my God, I love this movie. This is just a fantastic Spider-Man movie. The animation is amazing. It's got a great story, some really great moments, and a very kick-ass soundtrack. My friends and I, we obsess over this thing constantly, and yeah, so I mean, getting in 4K only made sense, and can't wait for the sequel to come out in 2022. It can't come soon enough. So then we've got Solo: A Star Wars Story in 4K. Now, you know, I think this movie it's not a bad movie. You know, it's a decent movie, you know. It's not an atrocious train wreck, I think, that some people make it out to be. But, yeah, I mean, it's not the strongest Disney-era Star Wars movie, but I still think it's got some good stuff going for it. And, yeah, got the cool Target exclusive, because I really like the artwork, and, because, you know, you got this cool digibook thing with a little art book and stuff, and yeah, I mean, I enjoy some good retail exclusives sometimes. So then we got Star Wars: The Last Jedi in 4K. Now, this is definitely a bit of a sensitive topic as far as Star Wars movies go, but I'll just say this. I don't hate it. I don't, you know. I don't think it's a complete disaster fest that a lot of people make it out to be. You know, is it the best Star Wars movie? I don't think so, but you know what? I think people are a little too harsh towards this movie, but I mean, just look at the steelbook. This steelbook is effing beautiful. And also it's got a really cool, like, 2-hour documentary on the making of the movie, so very divisive movie, but I'm on the positive side of it. Take that how you will. So then we got Stranger Things Season 2 in 4K with a really cool VHS clamshell packaging. I've got Season 1 on regular Blu-ray, but still with the cool VHS packaging. But yeah, this is just a really cool release. I love these VHS releases they're doing for Stranger Things. You know, it's got that red VHS tape with some cool little inserts in there, so I can't wait till, like, next year, whatever, when they release Season 3 to Blu-ray, and they better keep doing these VHS releases, or I'm gonna be real sad about that. So then we got Suicide Squad in 4K. I've got it on Blu-ray as well, but last Black Friday I upgraded to 4K. Still haven't taken it out of its packaging yet because I figured, why not own every DCEU movie in 4K since there's only a small handful of them? So, yeah, I mean, As I, I, I like it a little more than some people do, but it's starting to not age very well for me, so yeah. So then we got Terminator 2 in 4K. A lot of people complained about the 4K transfer for this movie, and well, I will say it's not perfect. I think it's not awful, you know. For some reason, they got rid of all the grain on the, on the film, so it's very crystal clear, which I think was not a good idea because that's kind of part of the value of shooting a movie on film is that film feel. And there are some moments where it's definitely digitally cleaned up a little too much, but I don't think it's an awful release, but it could have been better. And also it's got the Blu-ray as well, so there's that. And then got Thor Ragnarok in 4K. Very vibrant, visually appealing movies. Of course, the 4K made sense. Don't have 1 and 2 on 4K yet. I'll hopefully upgrade those eventually. So then got Toy Story 1 through 4 with these really cool steelbooks. And just 4 really, really good movies. And of course, since I got these over the summer when they came out, it only made sense to get the steelbook for Toy Story 4 when that came out. And just great movies. And these are really cool steelbooks. And they look good in 4K. Let's not forget about that part. Then we've got Us, the Jordan Peele movie with this gorgeous looking steelbook, just really nice, really simple, black with this gold artwork on there with the scissors and that image from the movie. Just I really like this movie, and just having it in 4K with this gorgeous steelbook is good. So then we've got Venom in 4K, and yeah, Mr. Brockopp, you gave this a less than positive review. Why do you have the 4K, you stupid idiot? Well, I mean, I think I bought this when it first came out because I was like, I don't think I'm gonna never watch it again, so I figured I'll pick it up, just kind of for historical purposes, I guess, just like that one time they made a Venom movie and it ended up being successful but not great. I mean, I do hope Venom 2 will be better than this movie, so yeah, but, I own Venom, so there's that. So then got Wonder Woman in 4K, great movie, looks fantastic in 4K, and I love this cover art too, so just really good movie. Then got Wreck-It Ralph in 4K. This looks good in 4K as well. I don't have Ralph Breaks the Internet yet, but I'll probably get that next week with Black Friday. But, cool to have Wreck-It Ralph in 4K. So then there's the X-Men original trilogy in 4K. Now, I really like the X-Men original trilogy. Even the third movie, Last Stand's not as good as 1 and 2, but I still like this movie. And, it's also, these look really, really good in 4K. Just definitely a good example of a little bit older movies getting really good 4K transfers. So, again, if you're looking for some good transfers, I highly recommend these as well. And then last, but not particularly last, actually, we've got X-Men Dark Phoenix in 4K, and, this movie is poop, but, I picked it up because this packaging is freaking awesome, and, kind of like some of these other ones, like, just for completionism, I picked it up so I have all the X-Men movies, and, that's all I'm gonna say about that shit. So that would be the end of the collection video, but I have a very small pile of 4K movies that I have yet to watch or finish yet, so we're just gonna go through those real quick. So recently I just picked up season 1 of Game of Thrones in 4K because I got it for a good price. And I was waiting to get into Game of Thrones when the show was completely over, so that way I can just kind of blow through the whole thing. And I'm only like a third of the way done with the season, but so far I really like it, and I look forward to watching even more of it. So then also got Bad Times of the El Royale in 4K. One of those movies that I somehow missed in the theaters, so I picked up the 4K at some point, and I still haven't watched it yet. Gonna have to do something about that, because I hear this movie's really good. So then got The Shape of Water in 4K, and again, I still haven't opened it yet, and I still haven't seen it yet. But yeah, I have the 4K, so I will get around to watching it at some point. But yeah, this should look really good in 4K when I actually watch it. And then the very last 4K I've got here is Hell or High Water, and these two I actually picked up last Black Friday, so they've been sitting on my shelf over there for like a year without being watched, so I really should get around to watching this at some point. But heard this movie was really good. You know, I don't know if I needed to get the 4K or not, but I do, so I will watch it at some point. Whew! So, there you go, there's my complete 4K Blu-ray collection. So I think there's like 96 movies total, so just a 4 less than 100. So like I said a couple of times, next week when Black Friday rolls around, this will definitely get to and then probably exceed 100 4Ks. But yeah, but this is actually just a small portion of my Blu-ray collection. I've got a few hundred more Blu-rays, and yeah, so if you do want to see the complete Blu-ray collection, then hit that like and subscribe button, tell other people to subscribe, because once I hit 200, I'll go over all of these. I haven't done a video like this in about a year and a half, almost 2 years, so I think it's about time. But yeah, so that's my complete 4K collection. If you guys have any cool 4K movies, or if you just are drooling over how many pixels I have now in this collection, then type it down below, and we'll see you on the Brockopp side.